Welcome to Transmission Incoming, your channel for Warhammer 40,000 news, views and reviews. Welcome back. Tonight we're going to take a look at a couple of new Necron datasheets that have been leaked over the last day or so. These are for the Lokhust Destroyer and the Canoptek Doomstalker. Taking a look at the Lokhust Heavy Destroyer first, you may remember this model being leaked some while ago. It's basically a heavier version of the Heavy Destroyer, so a heavy destroyer. It harks back to a lot of the earlier artwork for Necrons and is pretty mean looking. Now stats wise, the most obvious comparison is with the existing Heavy Destroyer. So the new data sheet is at the top here. As you can see, we've got a slight power level increase. The new Destroyer is slightly slower but has an additional wound, so not a huge boost there. Weapon wise, we've got two new weapons that replace the heavy Gauss cannon. First up is the Gauss Destructor. It's got the same range and the same type as the heavy Gauss cannon, but we have a higher strength and a much better damage statistic. In this case it does 3d3 damage instead of d6, so we're going to get a lot more consistent damage out of this, so it's between 3 and 9 rather than 1 to 6. The second new weapon this has is the I can't even pronounce that, the Exterminator. 36-inch range, heavy 3d3, strength 7, -1 AP, 1 damage. So a bit of a horde clearer, between 3 and 9 shots for that gun. It's pretty good. I can't say a huge amount about it. It's going to clear hordes quickly, isn't it? We unfortunately can't see any abilities of this model. So I'm assuming it's going to have reanimation protocols, but we don't know if it gets hardwired hatred or whether or not it has the repulsor platform. We'll have to see what keywords this model gets and whether it has an infantry or it has the vehicle keyword, or whether it gets the repulsor platform rule again, as to whether this is really better or worse than the existing Heavy Destroyer. Next up we have the Canoptek Doomstalker. So this is the rather spindly tall thing that was seen in some of the army shots of the Necrons that came out just prior to the release of Indomitus. Now obviously there isn't an exact model of this. Currently it's not really replacing anything. It is an entirely new miniature for your army. However, based on the enormous cannon on its back, the most obvious comparison is going to be with a Doomsday Ark. Now comparing the two, the Doomsday Ark does have a slightly longer movement at 12 inches at its highest stat compared to the Doomstalker's 10-inch movement. The Doomstalker has a better weapon skill, but it's only got 3 attacks and it's not really a melee creature, so not a massive benefit there. We've got a slightly worse ballistic skill. It starts at 4, but it's 4 consistently as opposed to 3, 4 and 5 plus. So it should be more consistent at shooting. We have the same strength and toughness. We have 2 less wounds. We've got 3-2-1 attacks. Again, it's not a melee unit, so I can't get excited about that at all. Leadership 10. This is beneficial, however, though its save has been increased from a 4 plus to a 3 plus, so it's going to take slightly heavy weapons to knock this guy out. Yeah, I think that's a generally good buff there. Before I touch the weapons, I'll just cover some of the abilities. As you can see, the only ability the Doomstalker has is the containment field, which gives it a 5 up invulnerable save. However, here's the big however, it doesn't have quantum shielding and it doesn't have living metal. So this is going to be interesting. The quantum shielding obviously really saves some of the bigger Necron models from kind of high powered last cannon shots and night weapons and stuff like that. So not having that and only relying on a 5 up invulnerable is probably going to hurt this model somewhat. On the positive side, it doesn't explode, so you can have this guy in the middle of your army and it's not going to be popping and taking stuff with it. That's a general benefit. Weapons, oh the weapons. So we've got Doomsday Cannon from the Doomsday Ark versus the Doomsday Blaster. Obviously the Blaster is a significantly shorter range. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. Obviously table sizes for Warhammer 40,000 9th edition have reduced somewhat, so I don't think it is a nerf, but it's not a massive nerf overall. We've got the same weapon types for both the weapons, heavy D6 in both cases. We've got the same strength for both, we've got the same AP for both, and we've got the same damage for both, and again the high power version can only be shot if the bearer remains stationary this turn. So essentially it's exactly the same as the Doomsday Ark, but shorter ranged. Neither here nor there. I don't think that's a huge problem. We have lost the Gauss flare arrays. So the Doomsday Ark has 2 of these, rapid fire 5, so that's 10 shots, 20 shots at short range. That's really, really powerful. This has been replaced, unfortunately, by a rapid fire 2 twin Gauss Flayer. Stats the same, but it's losing a whole chunk of shots there. So we're 8 shots down, 16 at short range. It's got nothing to clear enemies from round it if anything gets too close. And I think that's going to hurt it quite a lot when it gets into the midst of battle. So this guy's going to really want to hang back just a little bit. The only other thing of interest here I'm going to cover is this decrease in power level. So the Doomsday Ark comes in at 10 power level and 160 points. The Canoptek Doomstalker comes in at 7 power and we don't have a points value for it yet. However, that is likely to be considerably less than 160 points, probably around the 120 point mark thereabouts, which is not an unreasonable amount of points for this model. How's it going to perform in the tabletop? It really depends on these keywords and the buffs and abilities in the new Necron Codex, I suppose. So we shall wait and see what those are. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we'll be bringing you plenty more Warhammer 40,000 content over the next few weeks. Good night.